صباح الخير. سادة الحضور، نرحب بكم في فعاليات المؤتمر الأول للجمعية المصرية لطب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين تحت عنوان تمكين أطباء طب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين والعاملين بالصحة النفسية في القرن ال21 احتياجات لم تلبى. Good morning, dear professors, colleagues, and honorable guests. I would like to welcome you to the Egyptian Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Association First International Conference titled Enabling 21st Century Child and Adolescent Psychiatrists and Allied Profession Unmet Needs. والآن نستهل المؤتمر بالسلام الوطني, the national anthem. الكلمة الآن الأستاذة الدكتورة سعاد يوسف، الرئيس المؤسس للجمعية المصرية لطب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين ورئيسة المؤتمر. I would now like to invite Professor Suad Musa, founding president of the Egyptian Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Association and conference president, to give the opening speech.
السادة الحضور، أساتذتي الأفاضل، صباح الخير. Dear colleagues and professors, good morning. This is a dream come true, to have a vibrant Egyptian organization for child and adolescent psychiatrists, ICAPA. Although it was established 2012, it successfully undertook an awareness campaign for teachers and an ongoing mission of translating the ICAPA international textbook for child and adolescent psychiatry into Arabic. And today, it is holding its first international conference. This would have been impossible without the ongoing support and dedication of ICAPA members and ICAPA board, and all of you here today. This is a personal thank you to each and every one attending, presenting, and conducting the workshop. A thank you to our A team who have dedicated the last year to this conference. Dr. Mohamed Eddin, Dr. Iman Gaber, and Dr. Nahla Radwan. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. Our gratitude goes to all our mentors and professors, especially those with us today. Professor Mumtaz Abdul Wahab, President of the Egyptian Psychiatry Association, who generously offered his valuable expertise in all the critical times preceding today. Professor Yahya Rafawi, who ignites the passion for child and adolescent psychiatry through his evolutionary theory and approach in dealing with the human text and with the evolution of ego states, and especially the child ego state. Professor Ahmed Okasha, who among many things introduced my generation to the international arena, culminating in bringing the presidency of the WPA not only to Egypt, but to the Arab world and Africa for the first time ever. No words can express our gratitude for your presence today, blessing ICAPA's first conference. Sincere appreciation to ICAPA. Today, we have the Vice President and the President. Dr. Hisham Hamoula has been supportive since the preparation phase. Professor Bruno Farisor, who despite his very condensed schedule, is joining us for less than 24 hours. He's coming from his way on a conference in South Africa, and he's on his way to France, as tomorrow one of his students are defending the PhD dissertation. The conference today covers several critical issues in the field, with the presence of national, regional, and international experts sharing with us both knowledge and skills. And your active participation, we are hoping the wealth of information generated will help bridge the gap of unmet needs. On your behalf, I would like to extend our thanks to SERVO, our organizing company, and its chair, Dr. Mohammed Saad, and all the industry with us today. I'm wishing all of us a fruitful conference. Thank you.
والآن كلمة مسجلة للأستاذ الدكتور إريك تايلر، أستاذ متفرغ طب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين في كلية كيمبل لندن، نشيد له بالعمل المستمر لطب نفس الأطفال بمصر ومشاركته المميزة دائما. Professor Eric Taylor, Emeritus Professor of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry at King's College London Institute of Psychiatry. Professor Taylor has always been a great supporter of child psychiatry here in Egypt. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us in person today, but he sent us this talk.
I'm delighted to be able to greet and congratulate you on this first meeting of the Egyptian Association for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. I'm Eric Taylor. I work in London as a child psychiatrist. To be able to greet and congratulate you on this first meeting of the Egyptian Association for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. I'm Eric Taylor. I work in London as a child psychiatrist. And in England, we've been coping with a very worrying rise in the mental health problems of children and young people. I'm very impressed and wish to congratulate you all on the progress you've made towards setting up this profession, towards developing services, in spite of all the social adversities that you've had to encounter and overcome. Different problems in England, but we recognise ourselves as being the worst of all the European countries for child mental health. We know that our rates of disorder are very high, in spite of improving levels of physical health in children and young people. We know that the girls have been particularly affected, but we know that in males as well, there's been a rise in all of the main disorders. In counteracting this, first of all, we need to recognise some of the newer problems that have arisen to make children have harder lives and more distressing ones. We have to recognise that there have been changes in the families. The structure of the families has changed. Many more children are growing up with changing parents. We have to recognise that there are increasing levels of conflict between parents. It is particularly destructive to children. And levels of conflict account for a great deal of the variance in child mental health problems. We have to recognise in schools there is an increasing pressure for achievement rather than welfare of children. Those pressures to achieve can be felt very strongly by young people at a certain level of education. We know there have been changes in diet, changes in exercise that don't help young people. We know that drugs and alcohol are taking an increasing toll. especially modern range, of quite terrifying designer drugs that are not controlled legally, but have very disruptive effects on mental function. We know that the young people themselves are encountering heavy pressures from the new world of screen culture, cyberbullying, Instagram competition, heavy pressures both that have increased the social circle of young people, which is good, but also increased the proneness to exploitation and bullying, which is bad. Early secularization brings its own pressures, and levels of violence in society are increasing, not only in reaction to terrorism and gangs, and the fear of that which affects children, but also in domestic violence, which is particularly corrosive. So all these things have contributed to a rise in the problem. We have to think of our priorities. I'm sure you too must be considering very strongly how to set the priorities in what you do. You can do it by the frequency of problems, in which case anxiety and depression will probably head the list. You can do it by the severity of problems in determining development, in which case conduct disorder problems and severe depression and severe neurodevelopmental problems will head the list. You can do it by considering what treatments are most effective and therefore ought to be prioritized, in which case it will probably be the treatment of ADHD with medication and behavioral approaches, the treatment of anxiety with CBT and sometimes with family approaches, the development of community programs for early intervention, either in the homes through training parents in behaviour management, or in schools by helping in consultation to create collaborations of healthy mental schools. All these things have got quite good evidence for them, but in practice we react to the demands and we treat the people who come to us, and it means that we need to have a wide range of interventions. It means we have to use our collaborations with schools, with communities. We have to advance on many different fronts at the same time. So I think it's particularly timely that a meeting of people with different kinds of expertise and different kinds of knowledge to bring to the table is developing here, and I very much welcome and congratulate you upon the development of this meeting. I wish you the very best of luck.
الكلمة الآن الأستاذ الدكتور ممتاز عبد الوهاب رئيس الجمعية المصرية للطب النفسي والرئيس الأسبق لقسم الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة. Now, please let us welcome Professor Mumtaz Abdul Wahab, the EPA President and past head of Psychiatry Department, Cairo University.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. باسم الجمعية المصرية للطب النفسي بتقدم بخالص الشكر للأستاذة الدكتورة سعاد موسى على ما قامت به من مجهودات عظيمة في مجال طب نفس الأطفال، وبهنئها على هذا المؤتمر الناجح إن شاء الله. طبعا أنا سعيد إن أنا أكون وسط أساتذتي العظام اللي طول عمري كنت بتعلم منهم، أستاذ دكتور يحيى رفاوي، أستاذ دكتور أحمد عكاشة، وسط زمايلي، وسعيد جدا بهذا المجهود اللي بتقوم به الدكتورة سعاد سواء في ترجمة المراجع العلمية أو في زيادة الأويرنس على ال ADHD. With the name of the Egyptian Psychiatric Association, I have the honor to welcome our foreign speakers and our foreign guests, and I have to congratulate Professor Dr. Saad Musa for her effort and for all the team of ICABA, and I hope that they will enjoy our interactions and our change of knowledge, and to enjoy your stay in Egypt, and welcome again. Thank you.
والآن ندعو أستاذنا الجليل الأستاذ الدكتور يحيى الرخاوي عميد الطب النفسي العربي رئيس جمعية الطب النفسي التطوري والعمل الجماعي والمحرر الرئيسي لمجلتها الإنسان والتطور. الأستاذ الدكتور يحيى الرخاوي له إبداعات عديدة من أحدثها كتاب أغاني مصرية عن الفطرة البشرية، وهذا الكتاب يتناول الطفولة بشكل مبدع مبتكر. It's a distinct honor to invite Professor Yahya Rakhawi, an important pillar of Egyptian Arab world psychiatry, president of the Evolutionary Psychiatry and Group Work Association, and chief editor of his journal, Human Being and Evolution. Among his many creative writings, his most recent unique work is the Book of Egyptian Songs of Human Nature that describes childhood in a very innovative and distinct way.
Good morning. Excuse my very poor English. I'm going to speak in Arabic because I can't express myself except in my own mother language. أهلا بكم. Welcome to Egypt to the dawn of civilization. The only international language that fits every culture or film is the Arabic. Is but the pictures and the music. This international needs no translation. عشان كده نجيب لكم شوية صور نتكلم ونغني في خلال 9 دقايق ونص. من بقى يا ابني هشتغل ازاي؟ لأن بشتغل على الكمبيوتر بتاعي. دلوقتي طلع خلاص كده ولا ايه؟ ده مش مكتوب عليا. هنتكلم على الأطفال. أنا ما بشتغلش في الأطفال وكل مصادري هي من أحفادي ومن مشاهدتي ومن قراءتي. هنتكلم على الفطرة البشرية، نتعلم من الأطفال إذا نقصنا نشوف إحنا من إزاي نشوهها. المصادر ميكي أنا قلت ساعات تستحملني ودول أحفادي، بس أحفادي بس من ظهري وأحفادي من ادي ميجي وشويه صور زي ما قلنا صور انترناشونال، ودي الشانلز اللي انا بتفرج عليها بترتيب حبي لها. سينما بالعربي بالبيت بوكي سيمنز سيمسون اجيال اوحشهم سبيستون واحسنهم سين. وادي ميكي جيب، وادي ميكي ماي صوص. هجيب الصور من غير اي تعليق. تقريبا في ميكي اتعلمت تعدد الذوات، multiplicity of states and minds، صائد الاحلام، جهاز تفاديل التفكيك والتشكيل، وابدعهم جهه اسمها الشنجلوب، والطريقه المنطقيه للصغير. مجرد صور مش هتكلم تاني. تعدد الزواج، انا ايضا ميكي، وبعدين بقى 3 ميكي، وبعدين 5 ميكي، وبعدين طلعوا مش 3 بس، طلعوا 9. وبعدين بقى بتركب. صائد الاحلام ده مهم شويه، لان عبقرينه صاحبي عمل جهاز يصطاد الاحلام من حاجات كده احسن. طيب عمل جهاز يصطاد الاحلام، ودي مهمه جدا في حكايه الاكستندد كونشسنس، امتداد الوعي. وان شكلك علمنا على الكوجنيتيف ميموري والكوجنيتيف، ان الافكار المخ البشري ده زي التلفزيون مش زي جهاز التسجيل. فشوفوا ميكي ازاي قدمها للعيال. التناوب والتجمع والتفكيك. بص نلاقي عمل جهاز عبقري من الفوق ويجمع، وده اساس دلوقتي البايوريزم اللي انا منتمي اليه. وبعدين ادي عارفين الشمال والجنوب طبعا. راح نخترع سكه اسمها الشام جنوب، جمع الشمال والجنوب. كده يبقى خلصنا الصور تقريبا، الا الطريقه البندقيه. انتوا عارفين البندق صاحب ميكي، فعلموا الترانسندنتال ميديتيشن، راح واقف على ايده وشايله على ايده. الغنيوه مهمه جدا لانها بتعلمني حاجه هايله، اللي هي اول ايموشن عند الاطفال، اول عواطف عند الاطفال ما هواش الفير اوف لوس اوف سبورت، ما هواش فقد الدعم، هو الاورينتيشن. وبالعربي البحر. العيل اتولد يقوم عامل كده يتخط. ده البيزس اوف كرييشن. احنا بنلغيها اول باول بالتعليم وبالهيصه اللي قاعده فيها. فنشوف بقى الحكايه دي ماشيه ازاي. وبرضه بالصور بس، مش هتكلم ولا كلمه. شايفين الطفل؟ كل بقى هيبقى انواع البحر. بم بم بم. هذه العاطفه اساس الكريشن، اساس السربرايز. اول ما الطفل يشوف وش امه يبتدي يجي له مسج ويعمل بروسيسنج. وبعدين جبت لكم بنت من بلدنا، وده غسيل منشور بس كبيره شويه، ودي اكبر بس برضه مبهور. نيجي بقى للغنيوه اللي احنا قلنا انترناشونال، هي على البحر، وازاي احنا بنغيب، وازاي ان العيال بيعلموا اهلهم انهم يندهشوا وهم قادرين على الدهشه اكتر من اهلهم. الغنيوه دي بتقول، الغنيوه دي انا اللي كاتبها، واد بيقول لابوه: بتشوف الحاجه ازاي دايما زي ما هي، وانا كل مره بشوفها يعني مش هي. هو انت يا ابويا عينيك فيا مش هم تمام زي عينيا؟ انا بفرح باللي بشوفه جديد، الشكل ده هو بالغايه بتزيد، وانت عمال بتعيد وتعيد، وانا كل مره بلاقي نفسي في دنيا ثانيه. يعني الساعه بتبقى عندي مليون ثانيه. طب جرب مره تتامل حاجه شايفها من غير ما تقول ما انا عارفها، هتشوف زيي ويمكن اكتر. هتلاقي الدنيا بتتغير، وحاجات تكبر وحاجات تظهر، وهتعرف من غير ما تفكر ربنا موجود. الله اكبر. هو انت ليه حاطط الدنيا جوه برواز؟ وعينيك راكب مطرحها ازاز. ده انا برسم بعيوني الدنيا اول باول وكاني بشوف كل حاجه كده من الاول. لو تعملها مش هتعجز عمرك ابدا، هتخبى في حبه وتفرح حبه وتديك جدا وتلاقي نفسك بتطير وتعوم من غير جناحات ولا حتى هدوء. لا مش ارضي، حقك عنك. دول عيالين بقى بيتكلموا عن اهلهم باستغراب شويه. هي نفس الغنيوه. فالواد بيقول لاخوه شفت يا ابني البرتقانه؟ شفتها بس دي مش برتقانه. ايوه عارف. تبقى ايه؟ تبقى هي البرتقانه. يعني ايه؟ يعني لما نشوفها تاني تبقى غيرها. صحيح. يعني هي زي ديتها بس لا مش زي ديتها. ما انا عارف بس تقول لي يعني ايه؟ يعني تسكت. طب سكت. انت ساكت وانت عارف ولا خايف اني شايفها؟ ما انت عارف ان خوفنا من الجديد هو بيقرب لنا الحاجه البعيد. قوم تشوفها ازاي بقى؟ قوم اشوفها جوه مني بس برضه بره عني. يعني ايه؟ يعني انا اشوفها كل مره زي ما اكون بخترعها. يعني ايه؟ بقى ايه؟ هو انا بابا صارك؟ هو بابا بيعمل ايه؟ بابا بيجاوب عليا قبل ما اسال اي حاجه. يعني ايه؟ لسه برضه تقول لي برضه يعني ايه؟ تيجي يا ابني نقول له بابا يندهش كده زينا؟ لا يا عم. قال له لا ليه؟ قال له بابا لو انه اندهش هتبقى ساكت. يا نهار اسود. لا ولسه ايه؟ لا خلاص ما خلصت لسه. ايوه فعلا طول ما احنا بنندهش ما خلصت لسه. يا حلاوه يا حلاوه لو بقوا كده زينا. هم مين؟ هم كل الخوافين. يعني مين؟ اللي بيجاوبهم بدل ما يشوفوا احنا قلنا ايه وانت عايز منهم ايه. يعني لو سمحوا كده كم حبه نقولوا كنا نكبر زي خلقه ربنا. صحيح. يبقى ممكن اننا ولا بلاش. اصل انا كنت هقول كنا ممكن اننا نشوف ربنا. قصدي يعني نحبه جدا. لا تقول لي قصدك ايه؟ اللي يعرف يندهش يوصل له فعلا لما يبقى حر جدا مش كده؟ حر تاني. قصدي يعني زي ما قلنا هناك قول يا رب هو عارف بس حاسب يسمعونا. شكرا جزيلا.
نرحب الآن بالأستاذ الدكتور أحمد عكاشة رئيس الجمعية العالمية للطب النفسي من سنة 2002 ل 2005 والرئيس الفخري لاتحاد الأطباء النفسيين العرب والجمعية المصرية للطب النفسي، عضو المجلس الرئاسي لكبار العلماء، مستشار الرئاسة للصحة النفسية وعضو المجلس القومي لمواجهة الإرهاب والتطرف. الأستاذ الدكتور أحمد عكاشة كان طالب طب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين اشتراك في تحرير الكتاب العالمي المميز الصحة النفسية للأطفال والمراهقين مجال إهمال عالمي، وهو واحد من القلائل الذين منحوا الميدالية الذهبية للجمعية العالمية ICPAC. And now it's our honor to invite Professor Ahmed Alkesha, WEA President, 2002-2005, Honorary President of EPA, Arab Federation of Psychiatrists, member of the Presidential Council for Distinguished Scientists, advisor to President of Egypt for mental health, and member of the Presidential National Council for Confrontation of Fundamentalism and Terrorism. Professor Alkesha has effectively addressed the mental health of children and adolescents and was one of the editors of the seminal work, The Mental Health of Children and Adolescents Area of Global Neglect, and was one of few awarded the ICAP Medal of Gold.
Distinguished panel, distinguished guests, I'm pleased to be invited by the Egyptian Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Association for this meeting, initiated by Professor Saad Musa in collaboration with ICAPAP. Special welcome to its president, Dr. Bruno Balbisov. Half of the world population are children. It's important to highlight the following. Worldwide, up to 20% of children and adolescents suffer from a disabling mental disorder. In the last chart of WHO 2012 on the treatment gap in mental health showed that only 25% of child and adolescent mental disorder is treated worldwide, whether developed or developing countries. That's to say, we have 75% of untreated children suffering from mental disorders. Child mental health policy, services, policy research, early recognition of child mental health problems are currently inadequate worldwide. This is according to the WHO statement. Many children with developmental problems are also suffer from another illness, which is usually neither diagnosed nor treated, the comorbid physical illnesses. We have a problem. There is lack of awareness of the magnitude and the severity of the problems caused by child mental disorders, which may affect even the economy of any country. This lack of awareness among political decision makers, health decision makers, health professionals, and general public. It is sad to acknowledge that more than 80% of child mental health problems are not met with. The Presidential World Psychiatric Association program on global child mental health, in collaboration with WHO, ICAPAP, was created during my presidency of the WPA 2002 to 2005. I was privileged to have the golden medal of ICAPAP as the only adult psychiatrist who managed to have the budget to gather more than 50 professors and experts of child and adolescent psychiatry from all continents, once or twice yearly, to discuss the problem of child mental health in different locations in the world. The WPA Presidential Global Program of Child Mental Health was always mindful of the need to respect and support the rights of children and adolescents and their families. In the process of implementation, the program generated several worldwide initiatives in Russia, in Brazil, in Egypt. The results of the global program were presented in 2005 at the World Congress of Psychiatry in Cairo and are found on the website of the WPA for developed and emerging, or what we call developing countries. The unique overall objectives of this presidential program are three: to increase awareness by health decision makers, health professionals, and the general public of the magnitude and severity of the problem related to mental disorders in childhood and adolescence, and possibility of their resolution. But we have to be very careful to balance awareness with available services. It's impossible that the mother knows that her child is an autistic child. At the same time, we don't have enough service for it. So we put her in agony, we put her in pain instead of having awareness. So we have to balance. لازم نعمل نوع من التوازن بين التوعية وبين ايه الامكانيات اللي موجودة في البلد. طبعا بيقول لي انا عرفت ان هو عنده اوتيزم. قلت لها يعني علاج مش موجود زي ما قلت which is possible. We have to. And this is written in the book we are going to speak about. Second thing, to promote primary prevention of mental disorders in childhood and adolescence and foster interventions that will contribute to healthy mental development. The third, to offer support for the development of services for children and adolescents with mental disorders and promote the use of evidence-based methods of treatment. Is it possible إذا كنت تحطي لي كتاب قبل كده اللي كان موجود ده كتاب؟ This book was produced by Wiley. It's called The Mental Health of Children and Adolescents, an Area of Global Influence. And it was written as chief editor. I am the only person who am not professor of child psychiatry in this one, but it was during my presidency that we had to do this. It gives details of the overall program and its research activities. I tell ICAPAP that never in the history of ICAPAP that you had a worldwide program for these three purposes: awareness, mental health services, and early intervention. Never. And it gives the overall program and research activities, provides background documents, and directs readers to available resources. The volume itself is a part of a continuing effort to enhance advocacy and disseminate information about child mental health. And the book is not a very big book, but it can give you an idea about the efforts made to induce for the first time in the history of ICAPAP and WPE a presidential program dedicated for child and adolescent mental health. I wish all success for this very meeting in Egypt, the center of World Heritage. Thank you very much.
والآن تتشرف بدعوة الأستاذ الدكتور برونو كاليسار رئيس الجمعية الدولية لطب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين والعاملين بالصحة النفسية، والأستاذ جامعة دانيو باريس ورئيس مركز علم الأوبئة وصحة السكان لإلقاء كلمته. And now let us all welcome Professor Bruno Kalisar, President of the International Association for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and Allied Professions, Professor at South Paris University and Head of the Center of Epidemiology and Population Health.
First, thank you, Professor Moussa, for this invitation, and congratulations for the very important work you are doing. I am going to continue on the wonderful talk of Professor Rukasha, but first I wanted to tell you that I'm sure you don't realize that you will belong to the history of your country. There is at the moment an epidemiologic transition in health in all countries on the planet. Infectious diseases are decreasing in youth. Nutritional disorder will decrease also. And in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, psychiatric disorder will constitute the most important part of years with life disability for youth. And so you have the responsibility to prepare this transition, this epidemiologic transition. And this is a so important challenge because you are so few with so many youth. And this is the reason why I am here. This is to give you encouragement and to give you as much energy as I can to support you in this wonderful attention. ICAPAP can help you. And I am very pleased that already there are very strong collaboration between ECAPA and YACAPA. In particular, you know that YACAPA has written an e-textbook on child and adolescent psychiatry, which is very famous on the whole planet, and many of you have contributed to the translation of this book in Arabic. This is a huge amount of work, and it will help our community by far more than within the country of Egypt. And for this, I have to thank you very warmly. YACAPA also can propose to you other materials. You know that psychiatrists alone will not be able to treat and to take care of all the kids with needs. So we have to give a culture of child and adolescent psychiatry for nurse, for social worker, for teacher, and for parents. And we have done a MOOC, a massive open online course, 20 short videos to explain what are the main disorders within child and adolescent psychiatry. These videos are on our website and they are subtitled in Arabic, so you can use them just immediately. Another point, you know that most of the research is extremely important in medicine and in psychiatry and in our specialty. Anyway, at the moment, all research work that are published are mainly on a very occidental point of view. And this is a real problem because we are going to experience a loss of diversity in new knowledge. We are likely to lose clinical diversity in child and adolescent psychiatry. And so, in the YACAPA website, there is an archive, a platform where you can upload your research work and it will be accepted. And we only verify that there are not ethical issues, which is mandatory. But there is no reviewing, as it is the case in other journals. Physicists and mathematicians do that at the moment, and we have to do that, and you will be able to propose work in Arabic, in your own language, just with an abstract in English, so that everybody will be able to know what you are doing. So, I will terminate on this. You have a lot to do. This is, on one side, quite a big burden for you, but on the other side, this is so enthusiastic, and you know that even now, you will belong to the history of Egypt. So congratulations for all what you do, and good luck.
And now, hot out of the press, we have good news. May we ask Dr. Nasser Loza to share it with us?
Thank you very much. I guess the best part of life is the unexpected bit. To the panel and ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to announce to you that only literally this week, the very first training scheme in child and adolescent psychiatry in the Middle East has been accredited by the Arab Board. The Arab Board of Medical Specialization is, for those of you who don't know, is an organization that's been in existence now since the mid-90s. And what it does, it standardizes and examines doctors in various specialties in medicine. And only in 2013 were we able to propose that subspecialization of psychiatry in child and adolescents. And it took work of a hard-working committee, including a number of eminent names I see around here, I see Samay Abda, I see Saad Musa, But the board has really been active in setting standards and organization. And only, a few months back was the visit to the Department of Unit of Child Adolescent Psychiatry within the Department of Psychiatry at Cairo University. And you see here this picture of this very hard-working group who put together a very impressive presentation and summary of the training scheme at Cairo University. The draft report was written by the visiting committee, included Samah, and I'm pleased to announce that I've only heard yesterday, literally, from our secretariat back in Amman, that Cairo University has been approved for taking. So congratulations to all of you on this happy occasion.
تقرر الجمعية المصرية لطب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين المجهودات المبذولة في مشروعين من أهم مشاريع الجمعية، وهو حملة وعينا لاضطراب نقص الانتباه وفرط الحركة وترجمة كتاب الجمعية العالمية ICPAP للغة العربية. Today, ICPAP would like to appreciate the efforts of those who contributed to this very important project, namely the ADHD Awareness Campaign and the Arabic translation of the ICPAP textbook. أولاً حملة وعينا بالتعاون مع وزارة التربية والتعليم على مدار العام الدراسي 2015-2016، وقد شملت المدارس الابتدائية 19 إدارة تعليمية بمحافظة الجيزة. First, ICPAP ADHD Awareness Campaign, in collaboration with Ministry of Education, was launched in the academic year 2015-2016, which covered primary schools in 19 educational administrations in Giza Governorate. والآن ندعو كل من شارك في هذه الحملة أن يتفضلوا بالوقوف ويتوجه لهم بالشكر والعرفان لعملهم التطوعي المتميز في هذه الحملة. And now we ask all those who shared in this campaign to stand up and please join me in giving them round of applause for their volunteering distinguished efforts. والآن نتوجه بجزيل الشكر والامتنان لاثنين من المتطوعين في هذه الحملة الغير أعضاء بالجمعية. Our deepest gratitude goes to two volunteers who are not ICPAP members, Dr. Muna Namouri and Dr. Ahmed Abul Wafa. الدكتورة منى نموري الأديبة المبدعة ومدرسة اللغة الإنجليزية والأدب الإنجليزي كان لها دور حيوي وفعال في هذه الحملة، حيث أخذت على عاتقها التواصل مع وزارة التربية والتعليم والحصول على جميع الموافقات والإشراف على جميع الآليات. للأسف الدكتورة منى لم تستطيع الحضور اليوم لظروف طارئة وينوب عنها ابنها يوسف محمد علي. The dynamic, resilient, and motivated Dr. Muna Namouri, creative writer and lecturer of English language and literature. She meticulously handles all the logistics, including communicating with Ministry of Education and obtaining all the needed approvals, as well as preparing sites for the campaign in all educational administrations. Because of a serious family issue, Dr. Muna did not come today, but her son Yusuf Muhammad Ali, a psychologist to be, is here on her behalf. دكتور أحمد أبو الوفا صاحب الدور الفعال في تحضير المادة العلمية وتنظيم ورش العمل، وقد قاد هذه الحملة في 10 من الإدارات التعليمية بمحافظة الجيزة. دكتور أحمد أبو الوفا in this campaign. He was the leading figure in half of the educational administrations. المشروع الضخم الثاني من مشاريع ICPAP هو النسخة العربية لكتاب ICPAP للصحة النفسية للأطفال والمراهقين. نتوجه بجزيل الشكر والعرفان لكل من شارك في هذا العمل الشاق من مترجمين ومحررين. والآن سيكون التكريم على حسب ترتيب الأبواب المترجمة. And now we come to the second gigantic ICPAP project, the Arabic version of the ICPAP textbook of child and adolescent psychiatry. It's an ongoing process. More chapters are being translated and edited. We are deeply indebted to those who took the tedious task of translating and editing this book. Now we will announce the names according to the order of the translated chapters. Dr. Mela Douz, أخصائية الطب النفسي مركز القومي للبحوث, psychiatrist, National Research Center. He translated chapter A5. Dr. ولاء تاخر, مدرس الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة, lecturer of psychiatry, Cairo University. She translated chapter A8. دكتور هند عادل أخصائية الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية وهي الآن في المملكة المتحدة. Psychiatrist for State Hospital for Mental Health and is currently in UK. She translated chapters A10 and F2. دكتور حنان مزاحي استشارية الصحة النفسية للأطفال والمراهقين الإسكندرية وهي أيضا من محرري هذا الكتاب. Child and Adolescent Mental Health Consultant, Alexandria, and is one of the editors of this book. She translated chapter A11. الأستاذة الدكتورة سعاد موسى الرئيس المؤسس لإيكابا أستاذ الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة ومن Professor سعاد موسى founding president of إيكابا Professor of Psychiatry Cairo University. Professor Saad is also one of the editors of this book and she translated chapters A12, D1, H1 and J9. الأستاذة الدكتورة علا شاهين أستاذ الطب النفسي ورئيس وحدة طب نفس الأطفال جامعة القاهرة. Professor علا شاهين Professor of Psychiatry, Medical Psychiatry Unit, Cairo University. She translated chapter A13. دكتور مها عماد الدين رئيس قسم الطب النفسي جامعة بني سويف Head of Psychiatry Department Beni Suef University. She translated chapter A2. Dr. Karim Ibrahim طبيب وزارة الصحة Physician Ministry of Health. He translated chapter C1. دكتور رانيا عبد السلام أخصائية الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية Psychiatrist Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health. She translated chapters C4 and C5. دكتور بيرسيس فكري أخصائية الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية وهي حالياً بكندا. Psychiatrist Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health and she's currently in Canada. She translated chapter D2 with Dr. Walaء Fakri. دكتور ولاء حسني استشاري الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية. Consultant Psychiatrist Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health. She translated chapter E3. Dr. May Mohammed Ibrahim, أخصائية الطب النفسي القاهرة, Psychiatrist, Cairo. She translated chapter E4. دكتور نهلة رضوان استشاري الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية Consultant Psychiatrist Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health. She translated chapter F3. دكتور دعاء رياض مدرس الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة Lecturer of Psychiatry Cairo University. دكتور سمية شاهين مدرس مساعد الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة Assistant Lecturer of Psychiatry Cairo University. They translated chapter F4. الأستاذة الدكتورة أمنية رأفت، أستاذ الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة. Professor أمنية رأفت, Professor of Psychiatry, Cairo University. She translated Chapter H3. دكتور هبة صبري، أخصائية الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية وهي حاليا بالمملكة المتحدة. Psychiatrist, Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health. She translated Chapter H4. دكتور هبة الله وجيه، أخصائية الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية. Psychiatrist, Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health. دكتور عزة عبد اللطيف، استشاري الطب النفسي مستشفى العباسية للصحة النفسية. Consultant Psychiatrist, Abbasiyya Hospital for Mental Health. They translated Chapter I1. دكتور عليا عادل صالح، مدرس الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة. Lecturer of Psychiatry, Cairo University. She translated Chapter I2. دكتور فتحية عبد العظيم الحوفي، أخصائية الطب النفسي مستشفى معمورة الإسكندرية. Psychiatrist, معمورة Hospital Alexandria. دكتور شيرين مكاوي، مدرس الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة. Lecturer of Psychiatry, Cairo University. They translated Chapter J2. دكتور رانيا الفولي، أخصائية الطب النفسي القاهرة. Psychiatrist, Cairo. She translated Chapters J5 and J6. دكتور منال عمر، استشاري الطب النفسي بمعهد دراسات الطفولة جامعة عين شمس. Consultant Psychiatrist, Childhood Studies Institute, Ain Shams University. She translated Chapter J10. نتوجه بجزيل الشكر والتقدير لمحرري النسخة العربية من كتاب IPPAP. We would also like to express our immense gratitude and appreciation for the editors of the Arabic version of the IPPAP textbook, Professor Suad Musa, Dr. Hanan Al-Mazahi, الأستاذة الدكتورة عزة البكري، رئيس قسم الطب النفسي جامعة القاهرة واستشاري طب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين. Professor Azza al-Bakri, Head of Psychiatry Department, Cairo University, Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Consultant. دكتور هشام حمودة، نائب رئيس جمعية الIPPAP وأخصائي طب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين بمستشفى بوسطن للأطفال، بوسطن الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. Vice President of IPPAP, Attending Psychiatrist at Boston Children's Hospital, Boston, USA. نحن مدينون بالكثير لكل من ساهم في القيام بهذا المؤتمر، ونقص بجزيل الشكر والعرفان من ساعدنا في المراحل الأولى للمؤتمر وحولوا الفكرة لحقيقة ملموسة. Supporters of this conference are many, and we're really indebted to all of them. But special thanks goes to those who helped us in the initial stages of this conference, those who made a mere idea a viable option. دكتور سماء العبد، استشاري طب نفس الأطفال والمراهقين المملكة المتحدة وعضو الكلية الفلكية للأطباء النفسيين. Consultant Child and Adolescent Psychiatrist, UK, and member of the Royal College of Psychiatrists. الأستاذ الدكتور ممتاز عبد الوهاب، رئيس الجمعية المصرية للطب النفسي. Professor ممتاز عبد الوهاب, EPA President. دكتور هشام حمودة، نائب رئيس الجمعية العالمية IPPAP Vice President. ونتوجه بجزيل الشكر للجمعية العالمية ICAPAP الممثلة في رئاسها الأستاذ الدكتور برونو فاليسار. Our deepest gratitude goes to ICAPAP and its president, Professor Bruno Falisar. Thank you. Now we will start our first session. Please, chairpersons, join the podium. Professor Bruno Falisar, Professor Souad Moussa, Professor Azza Bakri.